I'm Samuel Clemens, but you may know me as Mark Twain. I was born on November 30th, 1835, the same year and day Halley's Comet streaked across the sky above my home in Florida, Missouri. I was born premature, and I was so sick that my parents did not think I would survive the night, but I did. Then, I lived there in Florida, Missouri until I was 4 years old. That's when the family moved from Florida to Hannibal, Missouri, and when I was in 1839. And I was very mischievous. I was born with it, but still, my mother sent me to school. But I hated it. But thank goodness Hooky was around. Then my father died when I was 11. He died of pneumonia. But I do know one thing that I learned from school. And I know it's true because the teacher nailed it down our throats. It said 6 times 7 equals 35. In order to support the family, I went to a printing shop. The printing shop belonged to my good old older brothers, Orion. But in 1849, I quit being a printer and became a steamboat man. I loved the river, and I loved it so much that I changed my name to Mark Twain. Mark Twain means 12 feet. And 12 feet is the shallowest amount of water that a steamboat can safely pass through. I also love the river so much that I lured my little brother Henry to the river. We got put on separate steamboats. His blew up and he died from his injuries. And in 1861, when the Civil War began, I was forced to quit my job. Oh. Hope you don't mind smoking, especially the younger ones. I started smoking when I was 9. Then, after the Civil War began, I became a Confederate soldier who never fought a battle and who never saw a Yankee in the Civil War. And I headed west, and I skedaddled west as a silver miner. At first, I failed to make a successful mining program, but then I found a bunch of silver worth about $1 million, and it got stolen from my own friends. Then I quit the mining business. I went to San Francisco as a newspaper writer. Unfortunately, I was forced to quit for taking up the Chinese. Then I went to Sacramento as a newspaper writer, too. That's where I wrote Jim Smiley and the Celebrated Jumping Frog in Calaveras County. That's what made me famous enough to lecture in the West. After I got famous in the West, I moved back east. Then I met Olivia Langdon, and let me tell you something, it was love at first sight. I courted her for 2 years. I wrote letters to win her. Then we married in 1870. In 1872, we had our first son, but later he died of diphtheria. In 1874, I published Tom Sawyer, and that's when we had our first daughter, Susan. Then out came Claire and Jean. After that, I continued to write some more successful books. My most successful was Huckleberry Finn. And why did Americans like my books? one, they're humorous, and two, I wrote the way people talked. And I spent more than I made. And I went lecturing to make up for the lost money. Then, even though my books were humorous, there was sadness in my life ever since my little brother Henry died. Susie and Jean died, and Claire was the only one who survived, or at least lived longer than I did. Then my beloved wife died in 1904. And in 1910, August 20th, 1910, I went to join them because I died of heart disease. And then, before I died, I realized that if I came in with Harry's Comet, then I would go out with her.